Hello, my name is William Carmona, and I was born in the Dominican Republic, but I was raised here in Hempstead, New York. So I started playing baseball probably when I was very young. I mean, as far as I can remember, maybe 5, 6 years old. And I started playing baseball because honestly, it was something that I always saw my father do. So naturally, as a kid, you always wanted to be like dad. So once I saw him play, I just fell in love with it, and I never really stopped since then. In high school, I played football all 4 years of high school, and I also ran track the last 2 years of high school. So football has also been a huge part of my life, and I use it as a tool. I use it as a tool to increase my toughness in other sports and other realms of life. I use track as a tool because naturally I'm not very fast at all, really, and it helped me increase my speed, and it helped me get better mechanics at running, so it was definitely enjoyable. I started having love for the game when I realized how hard it was to play. And it's one of those things most people don't relate to that because most people run from the hard things in life. But for some reason I grew an attachment to the game of baseball because I knew it was difficult. And I knew that if I became good at it, that there could be rewards possibly in the future. And that obsession and that passion caused me to fall in love with it, and it became a part of my life. So I realized I could play baseball at the next level because I had a certain dedication and drive that is needed to absolutely get better at the game. So it allowed me to come back every single day and practice and work harder than the next day. And eventually I just saw my skills increase enough to the point where I had faith that I could play at the next level. My role model is my dad because I've just seen him work so hard throughout his life. He signed a professional contract out of the Dominican Republic with really not having much. So I know that through hard work and sacrifice and dedication, anything is really possible. Coming out of high school, I had quite a few scholarship offers. I don't really remember the names of them, but I remember my last 3 choices were Hofstra, Stony Brook, and Georgia Southern. I chose Stony Brook because they offered me the most scholarship money and it's closest to home. So I wanted my parents to come see me play, so that's where I stayed. I played Little League as a kid. I remember playing T-ball, so I started really at the beginning. And I remember running around the bases and no one could catch me, so T-ball was definitely fun. So playing for the Stony Brook Steamboats was honestly a phenomenal experience because coming in, you're playing college baseball, and it's an experience that most people never actually get to take part in. So getting there, we was 12 freshmen. We were all from different backgrounds, different parts of the country. We had a few kids from Canada, so we had a whole bunch of kids mixed together, and we had to learn how to grow as baseball players, as athletes, as people, as teammates. And that culmination just made us better, made us stronger as people, and eventually has led us to the College World Series. That 2012 team was definitely the best team I've ever been on. Not only from a standpoint of talent and work ethic, but also as people. We were generally just good people to each other. So that made our team chemistry even better, which allowed us to fight through the hard time, which allowed us to push each other, which allowed us to pick each other up when one person failed, another person stepped up. So we also had, I think, 6 kids drafted, and eventually had around 8 play actual professional baseball. So it was definitely the best team I've ever played on. Beating LSU is one of those experiences where you kind of black out for a few minutes because we used to joke about getting to Super Regional and beating a big team, but we always said in a joking fashion, never actually truly believing it. And so when you're in that moment, when you're 1 out or 1 pitch away from beating this team, it kind of starts to sink in, and when it sinks in, you just go a little bit crazy. So it was definitely amazing. Before the regional started, actually, we were making jokes about how we were going to shock the world and stuff like that. So we came up with a symbol, and it's pretty simple, actually. The pinky is a conference championship, right? The ring is regional. Middle finger is super regional, and the O is the O for Omaha. So playing the College World Series was absolutely phenomenal because it's one of those experiences that you never truly think it's possible for you, because even as a kid you're practicing, you're working, but you're so consumed with the next step or that day of that seeing the College World Series in your future is something you don't even really go to sleep thinking of or waking up thinking of, or even during the day, because it's so far-fetched that you would never think it's possible for you, and no one actually knows someone that played in the World Series besides yourself or your teammates. So it was phenomenal. So yeah, I was getting calls before I stepped onto the plane to go to Omaha. So it was a really hectic day, getting ready to get on the plane and everything, and making sure I don't leave jerseys behind. But once I got on the airplane, all calls and texts just stop because you're in the air, and so it's kind of nerve-wracking because you don't know what's going on. But once I landed and I got a whole bunch of congratulations texts and calls, I didn't know what was going on, who I was drafted by, until I listened to the voicemail. So once I listened to the voicemail, I could calm down a little bit, but it was distracting before the games, but not really during it, because once the games start, your mind goes in a different area. The most important things I learned playing professional baseball is that struggle will always be a part of your life. In fact, it's going to be a huge part of your life because it's what develops you as a person. So I learned that you're going to have to take the 0 for 3s, the 4 or 5 strikeouts, or the 3 errors here, or the wild pitches there, and you're going to have to learn from them, you're going to have to grow from them, and you have to take those struggles and understand that through life you're going to struggle in other areas as well, and that you're going to have to battle through them. So I didn't continue pursuing baseball because honestly, I had completely outgrown the game, where I just looked around the field and the stands and realized that I was trying to grow as a person and as an individual in the world that I was living in. And I just knew that I gave 1,000% of my effort every single day that I could ever put on a uniform. And then that moment, I realized that that was more than enough for me. And so I walked away with no regrets. Most of the people that ask that question have never even come close to playing professional baseball. So let's put it in perspective. Less than 1% of the world plays professional baseball. So the people that ask that question don't know how profound it goes for me. And I read a quote the other day that says that as an athlete, the day you walk away from your sport, if it doesn't feel like 1,000 pounds is lifted off your shoulders, that means you've played the sport the wrong way your entire life. That means you didn't give 1,000% while you had the chance. And because I gave everything I had and left it all out there, I have no regrets. My advice is to stop listening to people who tell you what you can and cannot do and what's possible for you and what you're not good at and what you are good at. And I need you to focus on yourself and believe in your dreams, believe in your goals, believe in your passions, and give everything you have every day. My sister's pretty good. She's got a nice swing, I guess, but I'm a little bit better, just a little bit. So my current career is I'm a personal trainer. So it's an easy transition from playing baseball and being an athlete to being a personal trainer. So one of those things that I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do after, so I got into it. But now I've taken a job as a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley, so I'm definitely looking forward to the opportunity. Maybe in the future, as of right now, no, because something I've been doing my entire life, so I've never really gotten a break from it. So I definitely want to get into different things, but baseball will always be there for me, it's always be a passion for me, so you never know.